Imagine waking up in a future where human bodies are no longer left to chance. A child is born with the exact height their parents desired, muscles that develop more efficiently, and a metabolism perfectly optimized for their environment. This future is moving from science fiction into reality faster than most people realize. Artificial intelligence combined with genetic technologies is opening doors that humanity never imagined walking through before. The technology exists, the capabilities are expanding, and the debates about whether we should use this power are only just beginning. Scientists and companies around the world are actively working on creating perfectly designed humans. The concept involves using advanced artificial intelligence to analyze genetic data, predict physical traits, and even manipulate DNA sequences before a person is born. It sounds like something from a superhero movie, but researchers at leading institutions are conducting serious experiments right now. They are using machine learning algorithms to understand the complex relationship between genes and physical characteristics. One breakthrough came from researchers at the University of Texas and the New York Genome Center. They used deep learning models combined with full body X-ray images from over 1,000 people in the UK Biobank. The AI identified 145 different genetic locations that influence skeletal proportions, from shoulder width to leg length. This discovery revealed that humans could theoretically design bones and body structure with unprecedented precision. The human skeleton is highly influenced by genetics, with experts finding that skeletal traits are about 30 to 50% heritable. This means artificial intelligence now has a clear roadmap for designing more efficient body structures. The breakthrough tools driving this revolution are systems like CRISPR-Cas9 and increasingly sophisticated AI-powered prediction models. CRISPR acts like molecular scissors, allowing scientists to cut and replace specific DNA sequences with remarkable accuracy. Machine learning algorithms have become so advanced that they can now predict protein structures, identify genetic variations linked to specific traits, and design entirely new proteins from scratch. Google DeepMind's AlphaFold system translates DNA sequences into millions of versions of proteins that they encode, searching for ways to optimize biological function. This technology was once confined to laboratories, but it is now becoming accessible to startups and entrepreneurs pushing the boundaries of what is possible. The perfect body in a digital world. Before we even think about redesigning real humans, artificial intelligence is already designing perfect bodies in the digital space. Fitness influencers and athletes are not the only ones with impressive physiques anymore. Completely artificial people, generated entirely by AI, now dominate social media feeds. Virtual influencers like Aitana Lopez, Lil Miquela, and Nunori earn millions of dollars annually by posting content that looks absolutely real but is entirely fabricated. Aitana Lopez generates around $10,000 per month just from brand partnerships, despite the fact that she has never eaten a meal, worked out at a gym, or even existed as a real person. She is pure pixels, pure code, pure artificial optimization. These AI influencers represent the visual perfection that real humans are now chasing. They never age, never feel fatigue, never deal with injuries or illness. They possess the exact body proportions that algorithms determine are most appealing to online audiences. Photography technology now allows anyone to generate AI fitness photos that look indistinguishable from real professional shoots. A person can upload a single selfie, and AI systems will generate dozens of images showing them with incredibly defined muscles, in perfectly lit gym environments, wearing athletic wear that fits perfectly. The images look authentic enough to fool most people scrolling through Instagram. This technology creates an impossible standard because the bodies in these images are not just genetically optimized. They are digitally perfected in ways that defy the laws of physics and biology. Personal trainers and fitness coaches report that their clients are increasingly comparing themselves to AI-generated bodies, not real athletes. The psychological impact is profound. A real person might train for 10 years to achieve a certain physique, but AI can generate that same body in seconds. For those trying to build their own bodies naturally, this creates an incredibly disheartening comparison. Yet at the same time, it reveals the direction humanity is heading. If we can design perfect bodies digitally right now, the technology to design them biologically is not far behind. The dangerous promise of perfection, the drive to create perfect human bodies, goes far deeper than fitness and aesthetics. Companies are now actively planning to use genetic engineering to design babies with specific traits before they are even born. Several startups and research firms have announced plans to use CRISPR technology combined with in vitro gametogenesis to give parents unprecedented control over their children's genetic makeup. In vitro gametogenesis allows scientists to create egg and sperm cells from any ordinary cell in the body, even a skin cell. This technology could allow parents to produce hundreds of embryos instead of just a handful, essentially giving them a catalog to choose from. When combined with AI systems that predict traits, this becomes a true designer baby scenario. The case of He Jiankui, a Chinese scientist, shocked the world in 2018 when he revealed he had secretly created the first gene-edited babies without proper authorization or ethical oversight. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his actions, but since his release, he has become defiant about his work and vows to resume experimenting. His actions raised alarm bells throughout the scientific community, but they also proved that someone was willing to cross this line. More troubling is that new companies are now planning similar work, sometimes in regulatory gray areas where they face fewer restrictions. The promises sound appealing on the surface. Disease prevention is genuinely valuable. If parents could eliminate the genes that cause cystic fibrosis, sickle cell disease, or Huntington's disease, most people would support that goal. But genetic engineering does not stop at disease prevention. Once the technology exists to remove harmful genes, the next step becomes obvious: why not add genes for desired traits? Height, muscle development, bone density, metabolism, intelligence potential, all these traits have genetic components that AI is learning to identify and potentially modify. The ethical nightmare emerges when we realize how inequality will be amplified. Only wealthy families will have access to genetic optimization. A child born to parents with the resources to engineer the perfect body will have massive biological advantages over naturally born children. They might be taller, stronger, more disease-resistant, and have more favorable metabolism from birth. This is not a new problem dressed up in futuristic technology. It is eugenics repackaged with AI and genetic engineering. Bioethicists are deeply concerned that allowing designer babies will create a genetic underclass of people who were born without optimization, while others were engineered for superiority. Another alarming possibility involves personality and behavioral traits. Intelligence is highly influenced by genetics, though the genetic effects are subtle and distributed across thousands of genetic variants. AI systems are becoming powerful enough to identify genetic factors linked to intelligence, motivation, risk-taking behavior, and other psychological traits. Parents with enough resources might not just design children for physical perfection, but for psychological traits that match their preferences. A competitive parent might design a child predisposed toward ambition and reduced risk aversion. A musical parent might seek to enhance traits linked to perfect pitch. The potential for manipulating not just bodies but personalities and destinies is deeply troubling. The technology also introduces biological risks that AI cannot fully predict. Off-target mutations could occur where CRISPR cuts at the wrong location in the genome, producing unexpected and harmful results. Mosaicism might happen, where the edited genes fail to alter DNA in all cells, leaving the person with a mix of original and modified biology. We could inadvertently create new vulnerabilities to disease or environmental stressors that we have not anticipated. The human genome evolved through millions of years of natural selection. Attempting to redesign it based on current preferences could introduce unforeseen catastrophic problems generations later. Where do we draw the line? The fundamental question facing humanity is whether we should pursue this technology at all, or whether we need strict global regulations to prevent its misuse. Most mainstream scientists and bioethicists argue for caution. Hank Greeley, a bioethicist at Stanford University, warns that the move fast and break things mentality of Silicon Valley is completely inappropriate for reproduction. He argues that when you are breaking things in reproduction, you are breaking babies. The stakes could not possibly be higher, yet powerful forces are pushing forward. Some bioethicists actually argue that parents have a right to use these technologies, comparing genetic selection to other reproductive choices that parents already make. They are autonomous human beings with their own futures and identities. International regulatory frameworks are virtually non-existent, with some banning germline editing entirely, while others allow limited research under strict oversight. But political pressure is mounting to change these restrictions. The Trump administration's some researchers are even talking about conducting experiments in regulatory gray zones like Prospera. The future of the human body is not predetermined. That decision requires input from scientists, ethicists, religious leaders, policymakers, and ordinary people. It requires honest conversations about what we are trying to achieve and what costs we are willing to accept. The technology to design perfect human bodies is emerging faster than society is prepared to handle it. The window for meaningful democratic deliberation about these issues is closing rapidly. How humanity responds to this moment will shape what human bodies and human futures look like for centuries to come.